through. I'm glad to be posting something up for you. It's been a minute since I put something up. Recently acquired this shoe for half price. That's right, half price. And so I had to have it in a collection. The first model is absolutely stunning. I had to get my hands on this one just to test it out, see what the differences were. And at the price that I got it at, yeah, I'm going to be running in it a little bit, but mostly glad to have it. So let's get into it. The Adizero Adios Pro 2. Yeah, I got it right. So right away, what I'm noticing is that the ride is a little bit smoother. Actually, let's get before that. Getting into the shoe is a little bit easier. You've got a slightly wider opening. Still has the gusseted tongue, but it's not gusseted to the sides of the insole. It's not locked down to the actual sole of the shoe. It's more sewn into the upper along the sides. So it's got a small gusset that keeps it stable and not sliding around and moving. However, it is not harsh to get your foot into the shoe. The Adios Pro 1 was tough to get on. Opening seemed a little tight. Tongue was gusseted down a little too much. So that tongue would actually bunch up on you versus staying tall on the top of the foot. The breathability is probably more so improved on the 2. The cellar mesh is super wide open, super see-through, wider bands, less material, and so the breathability is outstanding. The breathability on the 1 was just as good, honestly, but I do like the structure of the 1 a little bit more because that interlacing that's fused to the inside of the shoe is just a little more prevalent, so the shoe has a slightly better lockdown. I do dig that. The heel counters and everything are more aerodynamic. You can even see it's got a little wing on the back there, which is kind of crazy. A lot of this is all sewn down. There's not a ton of fusing. Some fusing, but they sewed down some pieces. And then you can see right through that heel. Those holes in there are actually the lack of a heel counter. So the heel is soft, whereas the spine, like on the first model, the spine is hard. So you do get a little bit of support back there in the heel, and then the wraparound padding allows for your heel to stay pretty locked in pretty well. Let's get into the midsole. Midsole of the shoe has changed a lot, actually. It looks like it's a 39 millimeter stack, whereas I'm not sure if the other was a 39 or a 40 millimeter stack. I cannot remember exactly. Let me know down in the comments. But it seems as if it is not as high. It's not as thick a midsole, and the profile is a little bit smoother. The obvious difference being that you can now get a peekaboo of the energy rods. So they've actually done that on a few of their models. I know the Takumi Sen has it. The Boston has energy rods in it now, and you get that peekaboo. And there you get a major look, a major peek at the rods underneath with that big cutout. Now, I'm not sure if the cutout has to do with any stability. I know that cutting that section out of the arch, it might make a runner pronate slightly. If you are prone to running on the outside of your foot, that actually might help. If you're prone to running on the inside of the foot, I'm not sure if that would help, but it is a pretty drastic cutout right around that midsection. So if you've got a high arch, I think you'll be fine. If you need some support, might not be what you want to wear. And then the outsole. Still has that flat racing rubber there. Got a Continental piece on the toe. I'm not sure if the flat racing piece is Continental, but I know that toe off is. It still is quite grippy, which is you know, you don't expect that, but it's got a lot of little micro scrapes and scratches on it. So I'm wondering if the surface area is drastically increased in actuality, but we can't necessarily see it because it's not a traditional tread. Shoe is light. It's light. It's front heavy because you can feel the rods in there, but the shoe is light itself. It's a tremendous shoe. I love it. Now, I know I told you I got it for half price. I got this shoe for $139 at a local retailer called Scheels, regional to the Midwest. You might want to check some box stores. I don't know if that means another color's coming out, if a 3 is coming out. They've moved on, maybe. I don't know. Normally when Adidas drops their prices like that, even at their box retailers, they're taking cues from Adidas. Something new is coming, and so that'll be interesting to see. Again, I know that you're not supposed to walk around in these. These are a performance-oriented shoe, but then stop making them so stylish. People are going to walk around in them. So let's talk about the style quotient real quick. These go off. They are slightly wider in the base, so putting an insole in them will help. Again, I know the comments are going to explode with you shouldn't be walking around in these shoes, but I know, but people are going to do it. So let me give them some help. So if I can peel that out of there so you can see what I've done. When I was getting a little bit of soreness on my big toe in the initial model, what I figured out is that it's because it sits you so deep and that kick at the end is so hard, it's a negative taper. So distance runners run very flat, heel toe. If you're a midfoot striker, it's putting a lot of pressure on your foot in that spot where the rods go. You have to energize the energy rods, if you will. You have to hit heel toe, you spark them up, and you roll forward. If you're a midfoot striker, you're coming down on the ball of your foot on that midsection quite a bit. So, in that sense, what I figured out was if I can somehow get a slight bit of elevation up out of that deep hole for the negative taper, that it would help. And it did. I tried other insoles, still wasn't the same, still that negative taper because most insoles are flat. You get some insoles that have a little bit more of a heel padding, but again, the shoe wouldn't accommodate it because it's a racer and it's super narrow in the back. So what I did was I took the actual insole, very carefully took it out, and I cut a very simple Dr. Scholl's, just the basic model, not the padded thick one. Cut a very simple Dr. Scholl's through the arch section to give just a little bit of heel lift to make that roll a little more natural, to get me from my midfoot through the toe off. Increase the comfort 1,000-fold. For running, for walking, for all of it, it helped out immensely. So that's a little trick, little pro tip you might want to try if you feel like you're sitting too deep in that heel. To get you out of that just slightly, you might want to have a little look at that. Just a very simple Dr. Scholl's insole. The sticky glue that is on the insole already will work. So you just cut the Dr. Scholl's in a good way right near that heel pattern up through the arch. And then you put it in and the sticky will take back over and boom, you're set to go. This shoe is remarkable. Super light, you know, the first one hit with a lot of hype, a lot of fanfare with Adidas getting into the super shoe market with the Adios Pro. Before that, the Ultra Boost, there were a few models that had the sort of cushioning that was next level, and the Boost and all of that came in years ago. But Light Strike had started to make its way in. I think Light Strike actually started in some basketball shoes. Not a whole lot of push and fanfare to it. But then when they got into the super shoe market, they really started to excel in that realm, battling straight up against Nike mostly. But then your Brooks, your Hokas, and all of that. Hoka had the plush overstack ride going for it, but Nike had introduced a lot of plate technology that was more for performance. The Adios Pro came in and really established a super high stack that was not meant for the plush ride. Light Strike Pro was more traditional in its look. It wasn't beaded. It wasn't super squishy. It was highly responsive. I keep saying is highly responsive. I use these on higher speed days at the track when I don't want to wear spikes, because plate, rods, all of that rocker technology is actually reverse engineered from performance day shoes. Spikes. That made comfortable. That's why they say you shouldn't wear them around all day and whatnot. Yeah, because you wouldn't walk around in track spikes all day. It's the same technology, or at least the same premise, put into a more comfortable package. So that's what I was feeling, and that's a major difference between this one and its predecessor. While I do believe that the Adios Pro 1 is a much more beautiful shoe, the Adios Pro 2 is a much more palatable shoe. That is a look at the Adios Pro 2 from Adidas. Thanks for coming back through as always. We'll have some more stuff for you coming up soon. I'll be traveling, so I'm going to try and get some looks at some boutique stuff and some good stuff on the road when I'm traveling internationally. But again, not the hype stuff, just the stuff I like. So thank you for bearing with me as the stretches between reviews are longer than most channels. Again, I'm only getting the things I'm intrigued by, unique things, obscure things, and so, it's a non-hype type of channel, but I appreciate you. All right, thanks for coming through. Peace.